Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is an interesting game. It was one of the first games I talked about on my channel, and my opinions on the game have changed a lot. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot isn't a good game, and there are lots of aspects about this game that I dislike, but there are some parts of the game that I enjoy. But the problem is that these good parts of the game just aren't enough to save it in my opinion. So it was published by Bandai Namco and developed by CyberConnect 2. You probably recognize Bandai Namco from publishing every anime game ever, but you might also recognize CyberConnect 2 because they're the developers of the Storm series and the recent Demon Slayer game. While I do have mixed opinions about the Ninja Storm series, I really did enjoy Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles. One thing you may have noticed is that these two games/game series are arena fighters. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is not. It's an open-world character action game, but for some reason its combat plays like a weird hybrid between a character action game and an arena fighter. Like, its combat is very similar to the Xenoverse games, but just slightly better. It's fun at first, and for the first couple hours I really was enjoying myself, but after a while it just gets boring. There is absolutely no substance here. The combat is very simple, and once you get over the initial hype of like flying around and beating up robots as Goku, you start to realize how basic it is. And here's the thing, basic doesn't necessarily mean bad. A game can have basic combat and still be very enjoyable. One Piece World Seeker's combat is very basic. Matter of fact, I would argue that it's even more basic than DBZ Kakarot's combat, but it is much more enjoyable. And I feel like this is mainly because of the lack of combat variety and the lack of enemy variety. All the enemies in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot are the fucking same. There's like 3 different enemy archetypes, the only difference between them being how they attack you. You beat them all the same way and it never changes. The enemies in this game are so incredibly simplistic that it actually kind of hurts. Like, I can't stress enough how indifferent the enemies are. Is that the right word to use? Does that work there? I don't fucking care. I will say that the one-on-one fights with stronger enemies are a lot more enjoyable. Like I said before, the game's combat is like Xenoverse 2 but slightly better, and I feel like the combat works much better when it's a one-on-one battle. This being said, the same problem arises where the stronger characters you fight all end up being essentially the same. Sure, fucking Piccolo uses special beam cannon whereas Vegeta uses the Gallic gun, but you dodge them the same way. You react to them the same way, it's just a beam attack with a different skin. And apart from the enemies, even you as a character, there's a noticeable lack of shit you can do in a fight. You as a character, all you have are your attack strings and your special abilities. That's it. Like, that's all there is to the combat. In World Seeker, the combat is basic, but there are so many different attacks and abilities that it makes it feel varied and fun. Certain enemies take more damage from certain attacks, and some enemies need to be stunned with a specific attack, and some enemies can't be hurt until you defeat another enemy. This doesn't exist in Kakarot. None of the fights in this game stand out. Every single combat interaction is the same encounter where you just attack them and spam your special moves until they die. The combat in this game isn't good, it's just passable. But why the fuck would I download and play a Dragon Ball Z game with passable combat? I mean, bro, it's a Dragon Ball Z game. It's based on one of the most popular shonen animes of all time, where the show is about fucking big buff men fighting aliens, bro. The combat has to be at least above average. This is just decent. Not even decent, this is just on the dot average. 50 out of 100, 5 out of 10. Nothing special. It's just there, I suppose. Again, the combat isn't horrible, but it's just so unashamedly average. Every single aspect of the combat is just mid, and I hate using that word, but it seems like the only way to describe it. There are also certain aspects of the combat that I can't even mention or bring up, like enemy placement. Enemy placement and selection doesn't matter because most of the enemies seem to be using the same AI. They do the same amount of damage and they can all be killed in the same exact way. It doesn't matter what enemies they throw at you because they're all the same and you will defeat them in the exact same way. Anyway, moving past that fucking rant segment, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot also has some RPG elements, and they also aren't that good. It feels like the RPG elements were just tacked onto it instead of actually being one of the core parts of its gameplay. Similar to the combat, the RPG elements aren't bad, but they're nothing special. It's just the same shit you've seen in other games except slightly worse. It's just average. Like, the leveling system is just kind of there, I guess. Like, I understand why it's in the game, it makes sense, but apart from using it to gauge how strong enemies are compared to you, it's kind of useless. Each playable character in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot has a skill tree, and these skill trees give you new attacks and abilities, and they're fine, I guess. You can unlock these new abilities by leveling up or by doing the quests for them, or challenges, because that's what they really are. It just consists of you beating up someone or multiple people, and it usually has some requirement you have to fulfill, and these are actually pretty cool. I enjoyed doing these to get new abilities, and there's no complaints here. Yeah, there just isn't really much to say about its RPG elements. The power-ups are cool. Unlocking new power-ups was always cool, but like, you unlock those by playing through the story, and it doesn't really have anything to do with it being an RPG. And by power-ups, I mean like going Super Saiyan and fucking Kaioken and all that shit. And also, to be fair, while I still do think the combat is boring and not special in any particular way, going Super Saiyan every time I was in the middle of a combat interaction, it was fun every single time I did it, bro. I can't lie. It was like the most enjoyable part of the combat was going Super Saiyan and then proceeding to fight. Even though the fight was usually boring, going Super Saiyan or fucking SSG, whatever, or Kakarot, it was enjoyable, bro, I can't lie. But anyway, since I was talking about fucking the Super Saiyan, that's a perfect transition to the story. This might be the only thing that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot does right. The game's retelling of the story is fucking fantastic. I could truly understand if someone played this game only with the intention of reliving the story again, and I wouldn't blame them. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is an extremely valid way to experience the story. The game adapts the beginning of Dragon Ball Z all the way to the Majin Buu arc, and it's really fucking good. The cutscenes are beautifully animated, and the energy and feelings you get from the anime are perfectly translated over to the game. Quick spoiler alert, but let's look at the fight with Frieza and Krillin's death for an example. The cutscene of him getting exploded, the ensuing fight, and then the cutscene that follows perfectly encapsulates the feel of the anime. The music, the animation, the fucking camera angles, everything about it, man. You can tell real love and effort was put into making this game as loyal to the original series as possible, and I really respect that. Even just the gameplay, like the previously mentioned fight with Frieza. Going Super Saiyan during that fight and beating the fuck out of him with your newfound abilities, regardless of how I feel about the combat, this fight was enjoyable as hell. Not because it was particularly different mechanically, but because of the story behind it, and that deserves praise. It doesn't make up for the fact that the combat is boring and repetitive, but I don't know, man, it's better than nothing. Like, think about it like this. The combat, it's not good, man. Nothing is going to change the fact that the combat is very boring and very repetitive, but at least in certain fights you can get enjoyment from the story behind it. Genuinely, if you are a massive fan of Dragon Ball Z and you want to experience the first couple arcs of it again, then I would recommend this game for that reason alone. Cause here's the thing, the combat isn't bad, it's just incredibly average. It's not enough to ruin the game and take away from its fantastic story, but you also got to take into account that this game is just retelling the story in video game form. It does a great job at that, but it isn't really doing anything new, so I can understand why people wouldn't care about it. I mean, every part of this game is either average or bad, except for the story, which is taken from somewhere else. And while we're on the topic of bad aspects of the game, that brings me to the last thing I want to talk about in this video. It's open worldness. Open worldness. Is that a word? Anyway, its open worldness is fucking trash. Flying around as Goku is really fun. I mean shit, even running around as Goku is really fun. Just running, fucking flying through rocks, jumping into the air at supersonic speeds. It's a really fun thing to do. That is until you need to go to a different part of the map and you realize you can't run or fly there and you have to teleport there. This is annoying as fuck, bro. One of the few things that this game does right is making running around and fucking flying around as Goku genuinely fun, but they restricted it. Like, bro, even when this game succeeds, it fucking forces itself to fail. Moving around as Goku in this game is genuinely fun. I mean, they have these rings of Z orbs around the world for you to fly through, and it's like, there's these little, like, fucking air things that, like, they push you in this, like, roller coaster type. It's fun. It's really fucking fun. It's one of the few things that this game does right, but it limits your ability to do that. Teleporting from place to place should only be a choice, not a necessity. Like, bro, I be having so much fun just running and flying around, doing dumb shit around the map until I need to go to another part of the map, and I just gotta end all that fun and teleport to another area in the world. Overall, the open world in this game isn't bad. Like, it's not that it feels empty, but the stuff that you can do in the world just seems kind of boring. There's a noticeable lack of enjoyable things to do in the world. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is yet another anime game that had the potential to be good, but just wasn't. All in all, it's just an average anime game with some good and bad aspects to it, but in my opinion, the good outweighs the bad. Oh wait, no, fuck no, the bad outweighs the good, fuck. If you want to buy this game, then buy it, like there's nothing wrong with that, but I personally wish I just had my $40 back. Oh yeah, there's also like this trading card game added onto it, and it's like, I'm not gonna fucking play this shit, bro. I'm not gonna play that. I don't know why it's a thing, and I don't know who asked for this or wanted it, but I'm glad that time and effort was put into creating this card game instead of giving the open world game an actual open world. There's like 3 DLC for this game, and I don't plan on playing any of them if I'm being honest, but who knows. If this video gets 100 million views and 10 million likes, then I'll review all the DLC. But in all seriousness, if you guys want me to review the DLC or something like that, then just let me know in the comments down below. And while you're in the comments down below, you might as well like and subscribe. Let me know what video got. Let me know what videos. Alright, let me relax. I dislocated my knee like a month ago, and my knee's been fucked. So I guess that's an excuse for not uploading. But to be fair, I'm walking now and my knee is better, and I uploaded 2 videos while my knee was fucked and I was basically bedbound, so it's not really an excuse. But hey man, I'm back, I'm making videos, got exams and shit, but who cares? The grind doesn't stop. Let me know what video guys you want. Fuck me. Let me know what videos you guys want. Make sure you fucking subscribe. My name is Jugo Young, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace!